Two robotic creatures invaded the streets of Ottawa this weekend, and it's the first time they have been on this side of the ocean. We have extensive coverage on the event and what a giant spider and a fire-breathing dragon horse meant for Ottawa. 60 students from across Canada were studying at Carleton University for a month in a program called Shad. Find out how these 60 lucky students will be the game changers of tomorrow. Hello and thanks for joining us this week. Well, what a week it was for Ottawa. La Machine took over the streets of Ottawa for 4 days and attracted crowds bigger than for Canada Day. Crowds gathered in the downtown core from Thursday to Sunday, and more people showed up than for Canada Day. Long Ma, fire-breathing dragon horse, and Kumo the spider gave many a chance to feel like they were inside of a horror movie. And with the significance of this event for Canada's 150th birthday, a very strong security presence was seen in the downtown core. A high police presence was seen in the downtown area, and dump trucks filled with stones were blocking off city streets to prevent a possible terrorist attack, just like what was seen for New Year's and Canada Day. Concrete barriers were also in place, and armed police officers and RCMP guarded the streets. Now, throughout this newscast, we have extensive coverage of La Machine, and we start off on Saturday when Kumo the spider passed by Parliament Hill. If it wasn't hot enough in Ottawa, add a fire-breathing dragon horse and a giant spider to the list. Two robotic creatures have been invading the streets of downtown Ottawa this weekend, and it was the first time they have been on this side of the ocean. Guy Laflamme, Executive Director of Ottawa 2017, said it's a North American first.
This is a first, not only in Canada, but in North America. First time that La Machine is coming on this side of the Atlantic, and that's going to be a massive, massive production.
Kumo the spider and Long Ma the fire-breathing dragon have been taking over the streets in Ottawa, and with that comes some major traffic disruptions. With roads being closed throughout the downtown core, OC Transpo is warning of delays, and up to 45 minutes have been seen. Today, Kumo walked down Wellington Street and attracted thousands of people in the Parliament Hill area. As Kumo walked by, a watery mist was sprayed to the crowd, but nobody seemed to care because of how hot it was. Well, the spider has just went by Parliament Hill and thousands are out here. This is the third day of the event, and yet still it's attracting many people. And over at City Hall, thousands gathered to see Long Ma walk by, and many tried staying cool by swimming and dipping their feet in the water fountain. With the Ottawa 2017 cauldron lit, that didn't help either. As the dragon went by, the crowds followed, and many were surprised at how close they could get. The price of getting these two robotic creatures to Ottawa wasn't cheap. About $3.5 million was spent to bring them to Ottawa, and that was paid by all three levels of government and private donations. $320 million is expected to be brought into Ottawa during Canada's 150th birthday, and organizers say a good portion of that is expected to come from La Machine. The robotic creatures will be roaming around Ottawa throughout the weekend. Tonight they will be fighting each other outside the Supreme Court of Canada, and the big question is if Long Ma will find her wings. And on Saturday night, Kumo and Long Ma met one another at the Supreme Court of Canada, and although the show went well, there were many problems in the crowds. Join me with more. As the third day of La Machine comes to a close in Ottawa, Long Ma the fire-breathing dragon awoke at City Hall and made her way to the Supreme Court of Canada, where she met Kumo the spider. The two of them, however, didn't get along that well, yet that story was also playing out in the crowds. With about 50,000 people in the Supreme Court area, getting anywhere around the downtown core was almost impossible.
And the biggest problem so far with the events is the size of the crowds. People aren't able to get close, and many people are complaining of how poorly organized the event was.
Getting anywhere close to the Supreme Court of Canada was a chaotic mess, with people going in all directions. For many, they were forced to watch the show from screens on nearby streets, and even them kept glitching out. One woman even collapsed during all of the chaos, and paramedics didn't even know. One woman who was in the crowd was a nurse and treated the woman herself. As problems were going on in the crowd, the show still went well, and those who were able to see it said they enjoyed it. This comes after 3 days of the robotic creatures invading the downtown core, with Kumo passing by Parliament Hill and Longmont passing Ottawa's City Hall today. If you are planning of seeing the show for yourself, get there early because crowds are expected to be among some of the busiest. If you thought La Machine was over on Saturday, you were wrong. The festivities continued on Sunday with record-breaking crowds at the Canadian Museum of History. It was a first of its kind not only for Ottawa, but North America. A giant spider named Kumo and Longmont, a fire-breathing dragon horse, descended on Ottawa streets for the last 4 days, yet it didn't come with a cheap price tag. Over $3.5 million was spent to get these two robotic creatures in Ottawa from France, but around $320 million is expected to come in revenue from tourists over the event. On Sunday, the two battled each other for one final battle at the Canadian War Museum, and yet again hundreds of thousands of people came to watch.
This was an event that Ottawa residents did not want to miss, yet people also came from all across the country.
Because of how popular the event was, changes had to be made last minute in order to allow as many people as possible a chance to watch and to make sure that they were safe. More security guards were hired and more volunteers were put in place to manage the crowds. As Kumo, the giant 20-meter wide spider, woke up, the crowds cheered. On Saturday, Longmont the dragon found her wings, yet on Sunday she had to reclaim her temple. As the two fought it out, Longmont breathed fire and Kumo sprayed water. In total, 3,200 liters of dragon mist and spider venom sprayed, and with the media being so close, we got drenched. As the 4-day storyline came to an end, numbers were beginning to be announced on how well La Machine was for Ottawa's economic impact. Over the 4-day festival, 750,000 people came to see the show at least once, and about 35,000 people came on the first day. About $320 million is expected to come into Ottawa over Canada's 150th birthday, and a good portion of that is expected to come from La Machine. In a press release, Ottawa 2017 said over the 4-day event, it snowed in Ottawa 6 times with a soapy substance. 27 kilometers of Ottawa streets were covered by the two robotic creatures. 51 local musicians and choir members shared their talent during the event, and 32 hours of live musical performances took place. The event was so successful in Ottawa, many are saying they want it back next year. The production companies say they are willing, yet they will need to know fast because it takes about a year to plan a show of this magnitude. It does not look like they will be back next year, yet there is a good hope that they will soon. Overall, the event was a huge success, especially considering Guy Laflamme, executive director for Ottawa 2017, was originally laughed at when he pitched the idea. Nobody is laughing now. Full in-depth reports on La Machine as well as sections of the performances can all be found here on our channel. Well, now into other news. About 60 high school students from across Canada were in Ottawa over the month of July for a Carleton University program called Shad. The program has been running for years and has helped inspire students at a young age to become the future of tomorrow. 60 high school students from across Canada were staying at Carleton University in July for a program called Shad and were wiping away tears on Thursday as they said goodbye. Shad started in Waterloo, Ontario in 1980 and allows selected students from grades 10 to 12 an opportunity to team build and meet people across the country. It has grown to 13 campuses across Canada since it started. Hannah Hobbs, the program manager for Shad at Carleton, explained to me a bit about the program.
So Shad is a summer program that gets 60 exceptional youth together from all over Canada so that they can share ideas with each other and make connections, build friendships, and have a lot of fun with like-minded people.
Hobbs is going into Teachers College in the fall and hopes that she will be able to take some of the things she learned from Shad and bring it into the classroom.
It's taught me how to connect a little bit with teenagers so that I can make the difference in the classroom as well as at Shad, and hopefully come back next summer and do my job better.
During the Students' Month at Shad, they are split up into 6 colored houses and need to work together in a team-building challenge. This year's theme was reducing Canada's energy footprint, and the Green Team made a turbine. Isabella Tick, who is a member of the team, explained to me a bit about how it works.
Ideally, it would be for pulp and paper industry, for metal production, and for clothing production. And what it is, it's a turbine system that uses the gravitational energy of falling water to produce kinetic and electrical energy, which would then be fed back to the main circuit of the factory.
During the program, the students received lectures and workshops on many different topics, including business, science, technology, engineering, and math. 17-year-old Aaron Osborne, who is on the Orange team, is from a small town in Newfoundland. He was thankful to try new things that he could bring back home with him.
We don't have as many courses, like we don't have what people here have. Like I've heard a lot of people saying during the DE project when they were doing business and financials, so I had a financials course in hospital, I had business, or I had accounting. We don't have that, we have math.
17-year-old Natalia Whitlaw was on the Purple team and is a triathlete nationally ranked in the States and virtually in Canada. Throughout July, she has taken on a new type of training.
Coming into the program, I was interrupting people a lot, and now I've kind of learned. To take a bit of a break.
Erin Engelhart was a student at Shad 27 years ago. Now she's the program director and is proud to be involved for over a decade.
It really gave me the confidence to go out into the world, and I remember my Shad 27 years ago with great fondness and have kept in touch with people.
For Engelhart, who lived with the students for over a month, it's worth being away from her family because of how fun the program is and how much the students get from it.
Students are absolutely incredible. They're energetic and creative. They get along well together, they support each other, and we really become a loving family community where you can take risks and not be afraid to fail, because everybody knows that we're all there behind them, and even if they do fail, the consequences are pretty minor.
The 60 students who were a part of Shad will be leaving the program with new friends and new life skills. Selena Shen, who was a part of the Yellow House, will cherish the memory of washing dishes outside during a camping trip.
Yellow House had to wash dishes in the rain, and in order for us to, actually get the task done, we decided to sing campfire songs, and we just sort of made jokes, and I think in that moment that was like a truly beautiful moment where we all bonded.
And if you're thinking of possibly becoming a Shad student next year, you can get all of the details on their website. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Next week we will be at the Canadian Museum of History, touring around the kids section, telling you why it's a fantastic place to bring the family. Also, we will be reporting on the McDougall Mill Museum in Renfrew. All of that and more coming up next week. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you right back here next Thursday.
A place to live for you and me, with hopes as high as the tallest tree. Give us the land of lakes and the land of snow, and we will build Ontario, a place to stand, a place to grow, a place to grow. Ontario, oh, Ontario. peace where the free winds blow, and we will build Ontario.